I play the game with no timeouts. You ride my wave, you're getting wiped out. Big mistakes, get white out. I spot you like a lighthouse. Watch your moves like a night owl. On a full moon, wolves gon' howl. Can't bounce back, no rebounds. I show up like me how.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Tip Off. I am your host, Iceman the Eskimo, and y'all know what I'm here to talk about today. Actually, you don't, but I'm about to tell you. You heard? The Brooklyn Nets says on that video they put out that they have to get this right. Opportunity only comes once in a while to get this draft right. And y'all know we landed at 8. I know landing at 8 wasn't scripted for them. They thought they would get higher. I seen the picture of Marks with his head down on the table, only to get 8. Meaning, are there possibilities to move up? I know y'all heard all the news about Ron Harper, Philly, listening to trades. I'm not sure about Spurs, but Ron has put his stamp on everything and said that Brooklyn Nets. He didn't say Brooklyn Nets. He just said the Knicks gave y'all a lot of picks. A lot of things happened on draft day. Knicks gave y'all a lot of picks. Use them. You heard? So you know what that means. You know what that means, right? Now, the question for y'all is, how could the Brooklyn Nets get this right? There's many ways to get a draft right. You know what I mean? There's many ways to do this. Not everybody's going to agree on the same exact way to get the draft right. You could trade up, try to get Ace or Dylan. You could stay put, try to land on Fears and draft 4 other players or and trade a pick and wait till next year. You know what I mean? Draft. Well, you're not going to draft 4 rookies, but you can draft 4 players, right? Start there. Let's start there. It's possible to draft 4 rookies or 4 young players, but most likely you won't. Right? We got 4 in the first, 1 in the second round. Okay, start there. Right? Quality players, landing the right player, picking the right player at the right time is key to winning a draft. Not only getting the top player like Ace Bailey or Dylan or Fears, right? That's your lottery guys. But also the guys at 19, 26, 27, if you land on one of the guys and you choose the right player at the right time, right? That's key to winning a draft. Also trading or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Trading, making moves, other moves, moving Cam Johnson or Claxton, whatever the case may be. Y'all know what I'm saying. There's many ways to make something to win. You know what I'm saying? To be a winner. There's plenty of ways to make that a winner. So that's the discussion that the Brooklyn Nets are having in their organization. How could they win this draft? They said it's a must win. So, guys, in the comment, how must the Brooklyn Nets win this draft? What do they have to do? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't right now, with all the news with Ron Harper, Philly listening to trade proposals, Jeremiah Fears is on the board, other players that I have right here, I'm gonna talk about draft combine risers, guys that I of course I talked about. There's one that I didn't talk about, but of course, guys that I've talked about, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even list everybody. You might get one extra guy that I didn't talk about on here, right? But I have on my draft board. You heard? Is a combine riser. So how could they get this right? And I keep saying, I look at everybody's mock drafts. I look at everybody's everything. The Brooklyn Nets cannot get all um rookies, freshmen, juniors, They can't get all, right? You got to get a senior somewhere. I mean, you really don't have to, but if you try to complete the team, right? So I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna just go into it real quick. Um, it says 2025 draft combine risers, winners and losers, but we're not gonna go into the losers, right? Cedric Coward. This is a guy, senior, 6'6", killing the draft, killing the combine right now. Say, he was way back in the second round. Dude might end up in the first round in the 20s. In the 20s, right? He might end up in the 20s. Yaxel Lendenborg. I talked about Yaxel on Big Fan Breezy's podcast. Shout out to Breezy. Shout out to Leap. He's actually doing WNBA content right now for the Liberty. Heard? You know what I mean? And this will come out tomorrow. So he was doing it today. You heard? Shout out to Leaf. But Yaxel. All right, so Cedric Howard, right? 6'6", bouncy defense. His wingspan is incredible. He shot the lights out of the ball at the combine. I think he only missed 2 shots on whatever he was shooting. I don't know if it was threes or mid range. It doesn't say. It doesn't say right here. Drake Powell is another from North Carolina. Decided to stay in the draft. And I heard so far that he has a promise, and it could be from the Nets or the Wizards or one of the teams that's in the, well, I'm gonna say not in the lottery, but you know what I'm saying, a team that needs some help like the Wizards or the Nets. He already has a promise. He did well in the combine. Tahad Pettiford impressed. Dropped 20 and 8 in the scrimmage, but he's 6'1". Is his problem. He still might be in the second round. I don't think he's moving up, but he is a legit bucket, legit point guard, but he's 6'1". Right? I'm not saying that's for us. I'm just talking about who's the risers right now. Drake Powell, let's say a monster, 43-inch vertical. For Drake Powell. Let's see what else. He had Tahad Pettiford had 23 points, 8 assists, and 1 turnover. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Yegor Demon. I'm not really high on Yegor, but I would still take him if I couldn't get fares. You heard? Plenty of ways to build a team. You're not always going to get the player that you want, right? But you got to have multiple players to choose from. And in this draft, there are multiple players to choose from. Multiple. So, like I said, there's plenty of ways to the whole thing about the draft is building a team, right? You got 5 picks. You can use 4. You can use 3. I prefer to use 4 or all 5. You heard? No more swings, more chances to hit the home run. You heard? And we got three picks next year. One in the first round, 2 in the second. You know what I mean? So Yegor was a big draft riser. He has shot. He shot well in the combine. You know what I mean? So Yaxel did good. And one other guy. Oh, there's 2. Now, this is another guy on my draft board I didn't talk about. Yannick Cohen Niedenhauser, 7-foot guy, runs like a moves like a gazelle in full court. He can move for a 7-footer, bouncy. He doesn't shoot the ball well, right? But he killed in the combine. He killed in the combine. So he had 16 points. I forget how many rebounds he had. I don't have it in front of me. 16 points. I think it was 8 rebounds. I think he had 8 rebounds or something like that. Did well. He did well in the combine and in the scrimmage. Go check him out. He looked like he was supposed to be in the G League, and that's where I thought he was going to end up undrafted. But they said when he got a G League invite, he killed the G League invite. and they brought him up to the NBA Combine, and he's doing well in the Combine. So that's the name to watch out for. I'm not saying for us, right? I'm just saying he's a center, 7 foot, bouncy, quick, strong. You know what I mean? That's just another name to give y'all to look out for, right? And the other guy I talked about is Max Reynard. So Max, they said the most impactful performance of an NBA Combine scrimmage this far belonged to Max Reynard. 20 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 7-1. What did he average in college? 20 and 10. What did he average? What did he get in scrimmage? 20 and 9. Now, Max is a senior. He's 7'1", 250. He can shoot the three. Post game, right hand, left hand, hook, either hand. Post moves, drive to the basket from the three. Create for himself, create for others. He got 3 assists in this scrimmage, right? And before I even talk about Max, that's it. That was it for the risers that I got so far on the list that was there. Now, in this draft, let me go to Tankathon. Tankathon real quick. You heard? Let me go to Tankathon. In these mock drafts, right? We got pick 8. If and all depends on who you pick first, if they make any trades, yada yada yada, the list goes on, right? Just for talking purposes, just say we end up with Fears. We're not trading. Just say we're not trading. We end up with Fears. Your second pick at 19, right? Depending on who you get at 19, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You can land anybody, right? A freshman or a junior, right? A sophomore, a freshman or a sophomore, my bad, or a junior, whatever the case may be. You're not looking at seniors in your first 2 picks, right? Mostly, freshmen and sophomores, right? But once you get down to 26, 27, if we still have those picks, right? You're going to end up most likely taking a senior, sophomore, something, right? Unless you at that point in time, unless you go in the second round, and you still might end up with a, you know what I mean? Or you want to take Drake Powell. He's a freshman. You know what I mean? You want to take a swing at him. But what I'm trying to say, it ain't too many, right? Now, this is where things get a little funny, right? Because people are so focused on freshmen and sophomores and forget when you get down to the bottom of the draft, it's mostly seniors in the first round. Second round is whatever. You get most of the time your second round is G Leaguers, right? Right. Okay. So stay with me. Folks want to trade Nick Claxton. And I know most of us want to draft a center. Most of the Nets fans want a center. Now the thing is, right, when you're building a team, this year, you're not really trying to win that much. You probably won't win that much anyway going into next season. Do you want to draft a center that's a senior? Well, I'm here to tell you, most of the centers that are nice, what most Nets fans are looking for are seniors. You know what I mean? Thomas Sorber is 6'10", 6'11", with shoes on, whatever the case may be. 250. He's tall enough. He's big enough. He doesn't space the floor. Is that a problem for the Nets fans? I think it is. Right? He doesn't space the floor. Ruko Zayarski, from Australia. 7-foot center. He can't shoot the three. He is younger, but he's way in the back of the draft, right? And I know Nets have been scouting him, right? But you could take a chance on him. He's young. I think he's 19. You could take, if you wanted to, take a chance. on him. He doesn't shoot the three well either, but he does. It can be something that can be worked on. And he's not. I think he's only like he's 7 foot, but I think he's like 223. Right? He's a young center. Now between if you don't get Maluach and you don't get Thomas Sorber, which I still think you need a center if you get Thomas Sorber. I still think you need a floor spacer. What am I talking about? A floor spacer if you get Thomas Sorber because he doesn't shoot the threes. He's more like Bam Adebayo. I already told y'all that. That's what they said at the combine about him. He is in that Bam Adebayo category, right? Bam is a nice player, but like I said, you seen what Miami, they went out and got Khalil Ware, who can shoot the three and move Bam to the 4. Bam starting to shoot the three a little bit, but they have a center that can space the floor. Do we have that? No, we don't. So that leaves Rugo out, right? Maluach, if we don't get him in the first, that leaves him out. And he has to work on his 3-point shooting too. I mean, all the centers do in this draft, but you know what I'm saying? They're behind. So that only leaves basically 2 centers that I like. Ryan Kalkbrenner, Max Reynard, right? And they're both seniors. And you just heard what Max did. 20-9 at the combine, 29-3. He averaged 20-10 in college. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? The dude is a legit bucket. He can legit play, right? And if you were to draft him, he's gonna excel. And the thing about him, he's not at his ceiling yet. The dude still got potential to be better than what he is. A late bloomer, started playing ball late. Well, you know what I mean? He played at Stanford. And he's a monster. He set records at Stanford. He broke records at Stanford. Why wouldn't the Nets? I know the Nets is scouting him too. Why wouldn't fans want to take a chance on a center that's ready and young players, right? You want to move Claxton, who can't do nothing, but you don't want to draft a senior, right? Because you think about, I guess, you think about not winning as many games for next year. Understood. The other guys are not ready. The roster is not good, right? Some fans want to trade for Jonathan Kuminga, right? I mean, they want to get offer Jonathan Kuminga a contract, right? Doesn't space the floor well. So you more want Sorber and Jonathan Kuminga on the same team that doesn't space the floor well. Come on, guys. You're trying to build a roster for the future. You're not thinking it's not just about next year, but you're not going to be satisfied with what you see with Sorber and Jonathan Kuminga. Like, oh yeah, that doesn't work because they don't space the floor. Of course, it doesn't work. What type of team are you trying to build? Right? Yeah. When you think of these things, you got to think about floor spacing, the fit for the team. How would it work out? Right? Or I didn't heard go get Miles Turner. Why would you go get Miles? I know we gotta pay people, but why would you go get Miles Turner if you got a younger center? He's older, but he's a younger center. I think he's still 23. You know what I mean? Go get the dude. Draft that center, right? You end up with 2 younger players, maybe 3 younger players, like 2 freshmen, or 1 sophomore. You know what I mean? And a senior. I don't think that's bad if you get 1 senior out of this draft, especially for a center. Because hold on, I'm gonna say this: there's not a lot of centers that come around that can shoot threes. There's not a lot of centers that come around that can do everything. Those centers don't come around like that. If you look in the league right now, you don't have a lot of centers that can do that. I'm gonna say it again: trying to pass on Kalkbrenner or Reynard may be a mistake, bro. You know what I mean? Just from my point of view, because I know those centers don't come around. And what the Nets fans been calling for is a center that can space the floor, a center that can create. That's why they want Nick Claxton gone. I'm just saying, if you don't get Sorber and if you don't get Maluach, those are the two centers really that does everything that the Nets fans want. Kalkbrenner can drive from the he's a bit slower. He can drive from the three. He can shoot the three. He can block shots. He can rebound. He can man the paint. He will post you up, left hand, right hand, hook shot, whatever, lob threat. You know what I'm saying? He can do that, and so can Max. Max is not as good as blocking shots as Kalkbrenner, but they can do it. You know what I'm saying? They can do what the Nets fans want them to do. So when I say that, I want y'all to think about team building. I don't, you know what I mean? Y'all look in the draft and say, oh yeah, let's get a young player. Let's get a young center. Sometimes a young center ain't what you want, bro. Sometimes just because he's young doesn't mean you go draft him. Just because he's higher on the board because he's younger don't mean you draft him. There's ways to build a team, right? And having a center that's ready and still has upside I think is where you want to be at. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm gonna say it again. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. You heard? I don't think I'm wrong. I heard some people say Max Reynard should be in the lottery. Right? I haven't heard that about Kalkbrenner, but I heard Max Reynard should be in the lottery. Now I know when I go scout guys and I talk, some people forget how to build teams. I don't forget how to build teams. You know what I mean? I'm listening to the fans say, get rid of Claxton. We need a floor spacer. And I say Max Reynard. They say, he's a senior. You may have Fairs and Ace, or you may have Fairs and Rasheer Fleming, or whoever the case may be, and a legit center. Right? And we build from there. We don't go get Miles Turner on what? Miles Turner on a rebuilding team for what? Them dudes is trying to win, bro. You know what I mean? You go a center out of the draft at the bottom at the late first round. You know what I'm saying? 20, 26, 27, if he's still there, which like I said, he could go higher. He could go higher. You know what I'm saying? So how could they hit on this draft? Y'all tell me, because I enlisted Cedric Howard, who was older, Max Reynard, who's older. Those are the guys that are standing out. Ace, all the guys in the lottery are lottery guys for a reason. You heard? Older players, I know not all the time you want to take a chance in the older players, but older players in the bottom of the draft is where you take a chance. And I think Max or Ryan Kalkbrenner, in the bottom of the first round is where you can't go wrong. But I think Max may go higher than that. You heard? So y'all let me know what y'all think about how or who the Nets should draft, where, and what y'all think about the center position if Nick Claxton get traded. Do you want a 7-foot 250 guy? Do you want Sorber, who plays like Bam, but like I said, Miami got another 7-foot center that shoots threes. The league is going two bigs at the center and at the power forward, and the power forward has to be a skilled guy. Your center has to be a skilled shooting big to shoot the three. Now, he doesn't have to be a 35, 36% shooter, but he's got to be able to space the floor. You heard? Miles Turner, Porzingis. You see how those guys are doing in the playoffs? Complain about Nick Claxton. He doesn't do any of that stuff. He's not big enough. And then you want to pass on one of these guys? How does that work? Fans, talk to me. Let me know if I'm bugging out, bro. You heard? Let me know something. Like I said, let me know the guys. Let me know the names. Let me know when you want to take them. 26, 27, 19, and 8. That's our picks. And I forget the other one's like 35 or something in the second round. You know what I mean? Let me know how the Brooklyn Nets could win in this year's draft by picking who and building the team how. You heard? Let me know something. Y'all know my motto. Y'all don't have to like. Y'all don't have to subscribe because I don't know anything. You heard? And I'm out.